I'm Bo Davidson with your Real America's Voice News headlines. After initially considering the idea, President Trump says he will not attend the Supreme Court oral arguments on the case regarding his use of tariffs. Trump posted the following on Truth Social. "I will not be going to the court on Wednesday in that I do not want to distract from the importance of this decision. It will be, in my opinion, one of the most important and consequential decisions ever made by the United States Supreme Court. If we win, we will be the most richest, the most secure country anywhere in the world by far. Now, if we lose, our country could be reduced to almost third world status." President Trump also doubled down on how important tariffs are to his plan. Watch.
What happens to your economic plan if the Supreme Court invalidates your tariffs?
I think our country will be immeasurably hurt. I think our economy will go to hell. Look, because of tariffs, we have the highest stock market we've ever had. Because of tariffs, 401ks at the highest level, and this is millions and millions of people that we've ever had, 401ks. I think it's the most important subject discussed by the Supreme Court in 100 years.
Now, also breaking overnight, a Mexican mayor who was outspoken against the drug cartels has been killed. Mayor Carlos Manzo was shot during a Day of the Dead celebration in his hometown. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum said this was a vile act. Manzo had called for brute force against the cartels and said before he was assassinated he didn't want to be a mayor killed, but action was needed against the cartels. Meanwhile, President Trump defended the crime crackdown across the country and elaborated on his recent comments that he made, saying he could send more than the National Guard into cities. Watch.
Well, if you had to send in the Army or if you had to send in the Marines, I'd do that in a heartbeat. You know, you have a thing called the Insurrection Act. You know that, right? Do you know that I could use that immediately and no judge can even challenge you on that? But I haven't chosen to do it because I haven't felt we need it.
So you're going to send the military into American cities?
Well, if I wanted to, I could. If I wanted to use the Insurrection Act. The Insurrection Act has been used routinely by presidents, and if I needed it, that would mean I could bring in the Army, the Marines, I could bring in whoever I want. But I haven't chosen to use it. I hope you give me credit for that.
The studio's trying to make up for the Christmas, the preemptive Christmas song with a guess a fall song.
Legend lives on from the Chippewa.
I could feel it.
The big lake they call Gitchagumi.
Wow.
This is for you, Jack, apparently.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
All right.
No, I was going to say, but let's do there's great November songs. November Rain, Guns N' Roses.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Come on, Michael.
It's like Trump's favorite music video, too.
Listen, I got to tell you really quickly about our friends over at TikTok. Charlie built a thriving community through conversation. It's not something that happens overnight. It happens over time, one connection at a time. TikTok offers opportunities for respectful exchange of ideas, and through that, opportunities for community. Not to talk over each other, but to talk with each other. You'll find creators who teach and encourage, a carpenter passing on his craft, a mom explaining how to make a budget stretch, or a gardener showing us how to bring back your backyard to life. Different stories, same drive. The desire to connect and understand. That's what makes a strong community. And common desire to connect. To find a way forward through respectful dialogue, building trust and feeling heard. Freedom to speak what we know and to hear each other out. That's the power of TikTok. It gives everyone a seat at the table, place to speak, to listen, and to remind each other of what connection looks like. Conversations build connections, and connections build communities. And by the way, Charlie had millions and millions and millions, probably billions actually, billions of views on TikTok. And so we appreciate that. Portions of the Charlie Kirk Show are sponsored in part by TikTok. All right, so I want to get to this Trump 60 Minutes interview. I personally feel like it's not getting enough play online, and there was some really important pieces of information that were shared on this interview with Norah O'Donnell. Really, a really interesting gal. So here's the deal. So you want to get into this Venezuela stuff. You're hot on this Venezuela story because it does seem
this could be big.
A little bit of context
really
here.
Big.
Little bit of context here. There's Marco Rubio came out and said we are not invading Venezuela. It was fake news. There was a Miami Herald article that basically said that we were preparing to invade Venezuela. There is a warship just off the coast of Venezuela.
There's a whole naval flotilla.
So there's obviously been multiple strikes on these drug boats that are apparently have narco traffickers on
Which are
board.
amazing.
Yeah, which are amazing. I totally support it, by the way. We should have been doing it years ago, but most people don't because they have no courage.
And some of which, by the way, are they're like submarines, basically.
Really?
Yeah, they're like, and they'll say it's just a fishing boat. But no, it's a submarine. They use these semi-submersibles to try to evade.
So Nora O'Donnell asked two interesting questions. One would lead you to think that we are going to war or something. And then the next, he kind of brings it back to no, we're not. So let's discuss this. Let's play cut 43 first.
Are Maduro's days as president numbered?
I would say, yeah. I think so, yeah.
And this issue of potential land strikes in Venezuela, is that true?
I don't tell you that. I mean, I'm not saying it's true or untrue, but I wouldn't.
Why would we
I wouldn't
do
be
it?
inclined to say that I would do that, but because I don't talk to a reporter about whether or not I'm going to strike.
I love that he does that, by the way. He always says, we'll see what happens. He's not going to show his cards to some reporter on 60 Minutes. You can ask 15 times if you want to. He's not going to do it. But then she straight up asks, are we going to war against Venezuela? Play cut 45.
Are we going to war against Venezuela?
I doubt it. I don't think so, but they've been treating us very badly, not only on drugs. They've dumped hundreds of thousands of people into our country that we didn't want. People from prisons, they emptied their prisons into our country. They also, if you take a look, they emptied their mental institutions and their insane asylums into the United States of America because Joe Biden was the worst president in the history of our country.
All right, so Jack, this is a big issue that you've been focusing on. So why does it feel like he's kind of saying both things here?
Well, so, I mean, look, when you look at the naval force that we've assembled in the Caribbean, this is quite substantial. And there was basically this operational area declared around Puerto Rico. So military exclusion zone for military operations that was declared, saying that, hey, there's a potentiality for operations here that could be coming up. And you've got an entire, again, this naval flotilla that's there, multiple destroyers. You've got an amphibious assault craft. So you've got, which has an entire Marine Expeditionary Unit on it, not big enough to, launch an invasion or something like that, but, sizable complement of Marines, as well as drones, as fighters, and the potential for U.S. Special Forces. There's been this story running around that the U.S. has signed off on covert operations within Venezuela. Hopefully those are targeting the cartel leaders, which we love. I'd love to see those in Mexico as well, by the way. And Coast Guard fast attack ships all throughout the area. So does this mean then that there's going to be, people are saying that, look, we've seen a lot of, and you get a lot of this in Florida, right? There's a lot of people who have come from Venezuela, come from Cuba, that have gone to Florida.
So many.
And this is a huge issue down there. So for the rest of the country, you're thinking like, why is all of a sudden this pops up? But you go down to these pockets of Florida, and they will, and hundreds of thousands of people, by the way, and they really, really want to get rid of Maduro, really want to get rid of the regime in Havana, and so that is something that, obviously it comes up a lot during election time. It comes up a lot during these election years where they say, hey, we've got, when Castro was around, right? We got to get rid of Castro, et cetera, et cetera. And then the U.S. tried with obviously no negative effect, shall we say. Here's an interesting piece of this, though. So Maduro and Sagar and Jetty has come out, and he and Charlie were good friends, and he's been doing a lot of reporting on this. And a piece that came out on his Twitter that he put up, and because Trump had said something about, oh, well, Venezuela is invading the United States, and they certainly were under the Obama administration, and that's absolutely something that was going on. However, here's what Sagar pointed out. A side story that I found in my reporting, Maduro has been irked to interlocutors of these diplomats that claim that he invaded the United States, telling America, you funded your own invasion. And he points out that it turns out that the U.S. government actually did fund a large ad campaign for Venezuelan migrants in 2023 to a large Colombian newspaper.
Well, and people have to appreciate there is, the diaspora of Venezuelans in the last couple of decades. Colombia is full of them.
Right, exactly.
So by advertising in Colombia, you're advertising to Venezuelans.
Venezuelans.
Like, hey, if you're a refugee in Colombia, if you will, come to America.
And we saw all this going on during the Biden years. These were the caravans that were coming up through Mexico. This was all, and we kept asking, where's the money for all of this coming from? Well, it turns out it was coming from the U.S. taxpayers. That USAID had a contract beginning in September 2023 and ending in July 2024 with Colombian newspaper El País, whose purpose was to, quote, disseminate a new narrative about the Venezuelan migrant population. The grant required the paper to document and make visible success stories of migrants accessing the formal market using formats and media regularly consulted by business groups. So basically, we paid for advertising. We, when I say we, I mean the Biden administration and Mayorkas, by the way, who, and Blake had that great tweet about him. He said, this guy, you know, I'm not sure if we can bring him up on criminal charges, but he's a traitor. Totally. Just someone who totally facilitated the whole-scale invasion of the United States, and they used taxpayer money. They ran it through USAID, and yes, they were telling Venezuelans, come to the United States. So Maduro's got an interesting point here where he says, wait a minute, your government told them to come.
Yeah, no, it's an interesting point. And I do think it's interesting. But by the way, just to put a pin on, wrap a bow around what you're saying, I mean, Mayorkas, 100% a traitor. The fact that there's not a law that we can lock him up on, or may not be a law, we'll see. I think it's worth exploring the extent of which the law is capable of, putting him in prison. The fact that there's not, though, is really highly concerning, and there should be one, because the guy facilitated, probably on behest of the Biden administration. Who knows if it was even Joe Biden, by the way. It was probably just some of the woke staffers that he surrounded himself with. But, yeah, he facilitated the large-scale invasion of the United States. Now, there's a lot of really good Venezuelan people, and there's a lot of thugs. I mean, there's a ton of gang activity. When a country falls into disrepair like Venezuela has fallen, the whole country becomes corrupt and dangerous and violent, and it ends up being run by essentially warlords.
Well, and this is where Tren de Aragua came from.
Of course. So, but what's interesting is that Trump also says he thinks his days are numbered, Maduro's. And so the question you might then have is, well, if we're not going to invade, how do you get rid of Maduro? Well, there's a lot of reporting that would suggest that Maduro is willing to take any sort of deal to sort of flee into exile, if you will. He might take money. He might take assurances of his own safety. The guy just might be tapping out. I mean, if you ratchet up the pressure and you put this whole flotilla off his coast and you start, tightening the screws, you can get a guy like Maduro out if you want. I'm not saying we should.
But
I'm just saying it's very interesting that President Trump is saying, I don't think we're going to be invading.
Well, let me play devil's advocate then, because, we've seen situations like this as well where we played the regime change game. And, you talk about Iraq, you talk about even Vietnam in the past where we tried to do this.
Libya,
you'd go down the list,
Syria.
Libya, Syria, et cetera. And so if Maduro leaves, who's then going to stop Tren de Aragua from just taking over the entire country?
Yeah, I mean, I guess the hope would be that the opposition candidate that just got the Nobel Peace Prize would be the one. But, who knows, Jack? Who knows?
And I am
basically, I am anti-regime change.
You push one of these things and you're like, it's going to be great. It's going to be great. And then suddenly it's like, everything blows up.
I totally agree. I mean, listen, you and I talked about this last week, but Rich Barris had that polling that came out that the American people are basically fed up talking about foreign things.
Yes.
Foreign policy we are exhausted by it. And I don't want it to come off that President Trump was only talking about that. We are obviously in the midst of a government shutdown. I think we're 33 days into a shutdown. President Trump talked about that as well. Let's play 46.
I'm not going to do it by extortion. I'm not going to do it by being extorted by the Democrats who have lost their way. There's something wrong with these people.
So then what happens on November 15th when the troops don't get a paycheck?
Schumer is a basket case, and he has nothing to lose. I just left Japan, he's become a kamikaze pilot.
Sounds like it's not going to get solved, the shutdown.
It's going to get solved, yeah. Oh, it's going to get solved.
How?
We'll get it solved. Eventually, they're going to have to vote.
You're saying the Democrats will capitulate?
I think they have to. And if they don't vote, that's their problem.
Well,
kamikaze.
Well, Chuck Schumer is kind of like he's become a clown, really, of modern politics because he's so feckless and he's so controlled by the left wing flank of his party,
he's done.
AOC.
He's done.
He's done. And if AOC ran against him tomorrow, she'd win.
Yes, she would. And she knows that, too. The
money
would be against her. He knows that. So it's either he goes along with everything they want, or they will primary him and he's out. By the way, I don't know if we mentioned, but the breaking news about Nancy Pelosi talking about the old guard leaving.
Yeah, I mean, we've heard this a few times. I remain a little bit skeptical.
Oh, really?
She's expected to make the announcement tomorrow, which we'll see. Newsmax is reporting it. So if the reporting's wrong, we'll see. But, you know, I don't know. Basically, you know, what's interesting with this whole Mamdani thing is that we've basically got one hold. I mean, there's a few holds out in Congress, but Schumer's one of the holdouts that has not endorsed him. So anyways, here it goes. Let me quickly tell you guys about Tax Network USA. The government needs your money because they need more money. If you owe the IRS back taxes, they can garnish your wages or levy your bank accounts. They can even seize your retirement or take your home. Don't let the IRS target you. Call the professionals at Tax Network USA. Their lawyers, their tax lawyers and enrolled agents are experts in powerful programs that can help you eliminate your tax debt altogether. Tax Network USA is A+ rated and has saved over $1 billion for their clients. Whether you owe a few thousand or a few million, there's some of you out there, I'm sure, they can help you. It's just one phone call away. You can start the process of stopping the threatening demand letters, stopping the aggressive collection calls, and resolving your tax matters once and for all. But you have to act now while you still have options. For a free consultation, call Tax Network USA, Tax Network USA, tnusa.com, tnusa.com, or 1-800-958-1000. We'll be right back.